And totally free at Go Auto. We're talking top dollar trade-ins, whether it's a little worn or still rocking that new car smell. Just a few clicks, and boom, you've got your value. Text value to 780-777-7777 to start. That's value to 780 all sevens. Why, guess what it's worth? Let Go Auto show you the money.
Welcome to the Bro Zone, the ultimate garage setup for checking out the big game.
70-inch TV? Check. Surround sound? Check. Mini fridge fully stocked? Check.
But a legendary Bro Zone needs legendary snacks.
Wilhauk Beef Jerky.
Load up on Alberta's best beef jerky. It's the perfect game day companion when you're watching from the ultimate fan cave.
Wilhauk Beef Jerky, because you can't have summer fun with salad. Only available in Leduc.
With Play Alberta, backing the home team goes beyond the bets. That's because your picks have provincial impact. Play Alberta is the only app in the province that puts all revenue directly back into supporting programs and services that Albertans rely on every day. By investing in the General Revenue Fund, every play, bet, and buy made on Play Alberta helps make a difference across the province. Visit playalberta.ca/Gregor to learn more. That's playalberta.ca/Gregor. Must be 18 plus to play. If you gamble, use your game sense.
From the first pitch to the final out, catch Toronto Blue Jays baseball games live right here. Don't miss a moment of Blue Jays baseball this season. Sports 1440 is proud to be the home of Blue Jays baseball.
Ooh, baby, do you know
He knows all about the Expos and Oilers. It's the Lowdown with Lowetide on Edmonton's Sports 1440.
Presented by Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy. WolfGMCBuick.com.
Welcome to the Lowdown. Today's show, the Oilers are the last team standing without a coach. If not Mike Babcock, whom? Plus, Carolina Hurricane scout Dennis King will join us at 12:40 to tell us what it's like to be a Stanley Cup winner. Lowdown with Lowetide brought to you by Wolf GMC Buick on Sports 1440 and YouTube. Wolf GMC Buick. Ask about bonus offers for hero students, recent graduates, and more. Visit wolfgmcbuick.com. As I mentioned, we are live on the YouTube, live on Sports 1440 and Radio Player Canada, sports1440.ca and iHeartRadio. After the show, we're on Apple and Spotify. We tweeted out on X. You can text anytime, 833-401-1440, 833-401-1440. On Twitter, we're at Lowetide, at Declan Krueger, and at JFenwick04. Our guests today are headliners Dennis King and Kevin McCurdy, our regular guest on Wednesdays at 1 o'clock. We're going to talk an absolute potpourri of Edmonton Oilers things. And of course, there's a few other items to discuss as well. First, we'll get to the Toronto Maple Leafs head coach thing. I know it's on your mind. But first, it's time for the introductions. He's very thankful that today he's not the guy who said Messi wouldn't score a goal at the World Cup. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Josh Fenwick. Josh Fenwick, everybody. How are you?
Yes, very thankful. I also said that if I wasn't Canadian or Canada wasn't in the World Cup, I'd be rooting for Argentina because you got to cheer on the GOAT.
And, like, don't you think that one play he should have gotten a card of some sort, though?
Maybe. I can't even really remember what play it is because
He tripped a guy. He tripped him, pushed him down. Like a bully in the backyard.
I'm sure it was a big flop by the other guy, but also,
messy.
yeah, you can't really do that to Messi.
Who's going to throw a card his way? That would ruin life. He wouldn't be able to do it.
Exactly.
All right. He loves Messi, but wonders about the foul that wasn't called, and would like to ask Messi, it should have been thrown out, maybe a red card, something like that. He absolutely. I mean, he's apoplectic about it. Probably not. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Declan Krueger. Declan Krueger, everybody.
I couldn't imagine, like, I was going through a whirlwind of just Messi. I want to call it propaganda, but it's not even propaganda because it just seems to have so much accuracy. Like,
it's all true.
I couldn't imagine watching the sport of soccer, football to most, and not thinking that's the best. Like, the gap between him and the second biggest it might be bigger than the gap between whatever athlete is the GOAT of their sport and second. Like, he's just insane. And that's that.
And the thing about him is that like he's a lot of things. He's not tall or anything, but he's the thinking man's player. He always makes the right play. He's a fantastic passer. Obviously, 3 goals yesterday. He can finish like anything. And he's been doing it for a little while, right? Like this is a great player who his peak value and his career value are both insane.
19 years. And here's the thing, Kylian Mbappe has 2 goals before that. And it's like Kylian Mbappe, he's now only 1 goal away from tying the all-time World Cup record. And what does Lionel Messi do? He comes out at the age of 39 and boom, 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 hat trick. and ties the lead with Miroslav Klose. Now, shout out Kylian Mbappe as well, because he's young and he is going to have the record at some point for sure.
Yeah.
But we're talking about Messi today.
Is there anybody that you see so far, and I know we're early on, but is there any side that you feel like is equal to, say, France or Brazil or any of the top Germany, or
Right.
do we know the usual suspects are going to be there?
Yeah, I mean, like, if you want to talk about being equal to Brazil, I guess you got to say Morocco because they drew with them, right? And Morocco actually does have a very strong team. Spain, like, shout out Cabo Verde. That is an unreal story. That is disgraceful for Spain. You cannot be drawing an island nation of 500,000 people 0-0 as the tournament favorites. No, they may still go on to win it, but right now it kind of does look like France and everybody else. Maybe Germany a little bit because they won 7-1, but like they played Curacao. It's a little tough to gauge.
Right. And the French are so good, not just because the Germans, they have a structure, they play brilliantly well. The French just have like too many really good players. Like they're outstanding everywhere.
Yeah, what's crazy is like you could make an argument in world football today, Kylian Mbappe is their 3rd best player. Now, he certainly played like their best player in that one game they had against Senegal, but I'm saying like that's how talented the team is.
They're just loaded. All right, back to the North American normal, and that would be talking hockey. Toronto Maple Leafs hired Jim Heller, most recently of the Los Angeles Kings. He was an assistant under Mike Babcock in Toronto. I would describe him as a button-down coach and a coach that fades youth. So that will be interesting because we know that Chayka has been, adding draft picks and doing some other things. Now, he cleaned off about $4 million in cap room yesterday in a deal with the Philadelphia Flyers. So maybe they're going to go big game hunting or make a big trade for an expensive player. But do we have any reaction to, you've got Austin Matthews, you've got some guys who like to wheel in Toronto, and you have you've acquired a more button-down defensive kind of coach in Hiller. Does that kind of run counter with where you thought they were going, or does this look like business as usual?
You go.
Oh,
sorry,
yeah.
I'm doing something.
Sorry, I was waiting for you to go there. Sorry, Lowetide. Yeah, business as usual.
Pizzas don't order themselves.
No, you're right. They don't. It's a little weird. Like if John Chayka wasn't there, I don't think this is the guy you would kind of nab for that Maple Leafs job. Now, obviously he is there and it's a new, regime and he's the general manager. He makes the decisions. I like Jim Hiller as a coach, but like Jim Hiller to me, he was the perfect coach to get you to like the first round every year. Now, granted, obviously the talent there, we can talk about that. That's another thing, but he always seemed to me to be a coach who wouldn't quite get the most out of his players, but he would get just enough to get them to where it was kind of acceptable. And I feel like that Toronto organization needs a coach who can absolutely maximize the Matthews and the Nylanders and the Nyes and the John Tavares, if you still want to put him in that conversation, in the time they have left. Like, I think he's a good coach, but he doesn't strike me as the coach who is going to push them over the top. And I really think that's what they needed. But again, possibly lack of options out there.
Yeah, it's a bona fide NHL coach. I know a lot of Maple Leafs fans wanted more creativity. We'll see how it goes. I call him button down. There's going to be a better defense, and they better get some better defensemen to do it. Gary Lawless, Vegas Golden Knights insider, color on radio and digital columnist, been a guest on the Lowdown several times. He tweeted out today, Kelly McCrimmon tells the media at his season-ending availability that he has already granted a team permission to speak with Bruce Cassidy, and he will deal with it on a case-by-case basis going forward. That's interesting. Now, they are within their rights, based on everything we've heard from Gary Bettman, to choose who gets the opportunity. And I would surmise that it might have been Toronto. But here's the deal. If you're the Edmonton Oilers, and Cassidy is your guy, then A, do you just wait a year? And B, do you try to pry him out of there by giving up a pick or something like that. Don't know. But it's interesting. And it's out there now. They have granted Bruce Cassidy the opportunity, so they're not denying him the opportunity to interview, just not everywhere. So interesting times. And the NHL doesn't really have any rules, so we are sort of prisoners of the imagination of the owner and the general manager in this case. I ask you this every day, and I know you're sick of it, and I apologize for it, but it is what people want to talk about. Do we remain convinced Mike Babcock is the guy who's going to be the coach of the Edmonton Oilers? And I imagine we'll hear about it by the end of the week, that he's free to climb aboard the good ship Oiler. Do you agree with that, or do you think something will derail and they'll end up with another name?
I wouldn't say I'm convinced. If I was doing the Kalshi or Poly Market betting odds, I would say he's the favorite, but I'm not convinced beyond a shadow of a doubt.
And you still remain, this is insane.
I still remain, this is insane. Also, I don't think the NHL investigation will be done by Friday. I think it'll go on a while.
Do you think, is there any part of you, and I'm just asking this, any part of you that is thinking that maybe Gary's just delay, they'll clomb onto some other guy and then they'll pick him and I won't have to worry about this? Is there any part of you thinks that the lawyers are saying, just delay this, you don't want to make a decision?
Yeah, maybe. They're sure, in the back of my brain, that is a possibility.
No, this should be, they would have done the interviews.
Mm-hmm.
And so maybe maybe there's one at the end or one that came up after he left or 2 years later that they'd have to do, but it shouldn't be that, torturous. And I don't buy the John Tortorella thing at all. Ryan Craig, by the way, the new coach of the Vegas Golden Knights. For those who are angry at the Edmonton Oilers for changing coaches so often, I give you Vegas Golden Knights. They're like, I think they run through less coffee creamer than they do coaches.
They've changed what? 3 coaches in the last 3 months?
Yeah, it's craziness. I don't think Tortorella would come here. Honestly, I don't. I know that people say, well, he coached Vancouver. He drove home to the United States every night. And you can't really do that in Edmonton. I think that's a non-starter. I think it's Babcock. We'll see as time goes on. The interesting question I'll have is DJ Smith going to join him? Is Paul Coffey going to be a part of the coaching staff? Those questions and more will be answered in real time as we move ahead. It's 12:10, Lowdown with Lowetide, Sports 1440. We have declinations coming up at 1:40 today. What have you got for us, sir?
Yeah, it's going to be Duncan with Declan, jamming with Josh. And whoa, what's this? Fast break. It's a layup with Lowetide as well.
Oh, nice.
We are going to be doing our...
Get the ambulance.
Because, obviously we'll talk a little bit of draft when that rolls around as well. But we are going to be doing our end of season awards. And not, the traditional MVP, 6-man. We've done that. We are going to be doing our kind of made up awards, like storyline of the year.
Oh.
Who would you want? Stuff like that. So we're going to run through a couple categories quickly, but that will come up at 1:40.
Well, I'll provide the 76ers headlines. How about that?
Do you have one right now?
Just, get a grip. Just
franchise ruined good point guard. Yeah.
You've already sunk a lot of costs. Try to get draft picks, and maybe in the 2030s, you'll be better. I'm looking forward to that. We also have, as I mentioned, Dennis King. We have Kevin McCurdy. We have rumors just around the corner. It's going to be a fun day on the show today. This is from the Fog. Prediction: Oilers give Vegas their second-round pick to talk to Cassidy. That replaces what they lost from Tort's antics. It's possible. It's possible. I keep hoping that second-round pick in the 2027 version anyway would be used for a offer sheet for Maverick Bourque. But I'm probably dreaming in Technicolor. By the way, my Athletic article today, I ranked all 18 of the Edmonton Oilers coaches during their NHL history. So from 79 through to 2026. And I know many of you are going to be enraged by some of the rankings, but I'm happy to defend all of it. And so throw me questions and I will give you my answer. I think we're going to end up hiring Babcock, and then something's going to come out and make our management staff look like idiots. From Chris, there's a real danger there, and I think we've covered it on this radio station fairly thoroughly. There's all kinds of problems that are rife in this hiring, and if there was like only 7 people on planet Earth who were available to coach the Edmonton Oilers, even then I just don't think that you would go that route. But there's more than 7 men who can coach the Edmonton Oilers, and I think that this is based on what the rights holder media are saying. They are all in, and so with that, it's a collision with destiny. The Edmonton Oilers have decided they're in Vegas and they're rolling the dice, and they've risked everything. They're all in. They pushed everything in. That includes the apartment, that includes the house, that includes the Maserati. It's all in on this. And the Edmonton Oilers have always had mercurial ownership. Well, except for the EIG, but Pocklington was like that. Pocklington took amazing risks. And I think that Daryl Cates hiring Mike Babcock to be the head coach of this Oilers team, that is a massive risk. And we'll see if it works. Is George Burnett ranked number 1? No, but he's not last. And I think that's a victory. I truly do. All right. Are you looking forward to Saturday and the Elks game? I know I am. I know everybody's going to go to the game and have a blast. It's going to be, weather's not great. Take an umbrella, or garbage bag, something like that. What do you take on a rain day when you're going to a football game?
Well,
hat and jacket.
I sit up in the press box, so it is covered in there. But if I'm out in the stands, poncho for sure, hat. I'm never without a hat. And then, like a windbreaker type jacket,
sure. But
with a hood.
If you're in the press box, you got to listen to TJ talk about the not enough bathrooms. So there's, it's a yin and a yang.
Yeah. The press box isn't great. I'm not going to lie to you. It's probably, you have more fun in the stands.
I don't know why both press boxes, I can't see from the Oilers press box. I just can't see. And you're not with the fans. You're with a bunch of people who want to talk to you while the game's on.
Yeah, the Oilers one is way, way, way up there. The Elks one is like, it gives you a great view of everything, especially in because I like to, watch how receivers break from their routes, what coverage DBs are in. You can't always see that with the tracking camera on TV. So the view is very good for that. I will give that credit, even though it's a little bit shifted to one side of the field. But it gets a little smoggy in there.
Yeah.
And more water, guys, please.
Chris D says, when I started listening to your show on 1260 when I was in high school, the highlight of my week was listening to the segments with Dennis King. Looking forward to the segment today. I am too. I do not remember the last time I talked to Dennis on the radio. And he's, I'll tell you what, I have my questions ready. I have zero idea where this is going, which is always the most fun interview. And there's, God bless the Carolina Hurricanes for giving us the opportunity. Dennis is a star in Edmonton Twitter, and his radio hits are legendary. So this is going to be a blast, and we're just delighted, and we thank the Hurricanes and Dennis for making themselves available. All right. Very, very, very busy day. We'll start it all off with rumors on the way next. Lowdown with Lowetide, brought to you by Wolf GMC Buick.
When your project can't afford downtime, call Japa Equipment Rentals. From excavators and wheel.
Down with the humidity dropping off has made a huge difference. Messi flying forward. His 200th cap, his 6th World Cup, another majestic moment for Lionel Messi. Deflection high from range. The second leading scorer in the history of the World Cup now. And Argentina's talisman delivers yet again.
That's the right place at the right time.
They've experienced it all.
I've got the full package.
Messi. Gonzalez. Back to Messi. Messi! His first World Cup hat-trick, and it's a record center.
The Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440. Can you fit Sports Encyclopedia on a business card?
Presented by Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy. WolfGMCBuick.com.
This is the Lowdown on Sports 1440, brought to you by Wolf GMC Buick. Check them out, wolfgmcbuick.com. It's a nicer day today. 17 the high, I believe. The sun, it's there. As a matter of fact, I think at 1 o'clock there's going to be something disappearing. Is it Jupiter or Mars or something? It's going to go behind and we won't see anything. Everybody's excited about it. Maybe I'll get Kevin McCurdy to explain that. But it's a nicer day than it was yesterday, although we'll likely have some rain a little bit tonight. I'm hoping for a hot July and a hot August because we have earned it here in Northern Alberta. It's time for Rumors, brought to you by Harley-Davidson of Edmonton. It's riding season, and Harley-Davidson of Edmonton has your next bike waiting. Huge selection of new and pre-owned, plus test rides available. Locally owned and operated since 1980 on the Yellowhead Trail, or at hdedmonton.com. I encourage you, if you love the Harley-Davidsons, go there like in an afternoon or an evening, have a cup of joe, and just sit down and take it all in, especially this time of year. You'd have bikers traveling from all over the place, stopping in to say hello. It's a massive and wonderful community, and they do a great job over there. Okay, so let's get to it. The Golden Knights have hired Ryan Craig as their head coach. He's the third head coach in the last half an hour for the organization, running through Cassidy and Tortorella on their way to Ryan Craig, who is a local. So that'll be interesting. The Toronto Maple Leafs have hired their coach, Jim Hiller, formerly of the Los Angeles Kings, and he was an assistant coach with the Toronto Maple Leafs when Mike Babcock was there. And so now we know all of the coaches who will be coaching next year, just waiting for the NHL to finish their investigation about Mike Babcock. Every insider but Frank Saravalli says that it's, basically done. They can't see a way for it to, get derailed. And I really respect Frank, but that's a lot of guesses going one way. So unless Frank is doing a counter tray like John Riggins did with the Washington Football Club years and years ago, then I think that Mike Babcock will be the coach here. And we will see what happens. My own guess is that someone like Babcock, who hasn't coached for a while, maybe a little bit rusty, will need to have a really strong coaching staff on side, all of them having coached recently in the National Hockey League. But first years for coaches are often strong ones. So if they can get their act together under Mike Babcock, who's the presumed next coach of the Edmonton Oilers, this is going to be a very interesting year. And the concerns that have been expressed by, media, by fans, and, via agents, speaking for hockey players, it'll all fall out as it does. And I do think there's enormous risk here. And I do think there's a very good chance 5 years from now, we're going to talk about what a careless hiring this was. That said, it's a 32 management league, 32 owners, and it's a private club. And so whatever happens is what will happen, what come what may. And the Edmonton Oilers are convinced Mike Babcock can win them a Stanley Cup, and that is the ultimate goal. Remember that old line about winning isn't the main thing, it's the only thing? Well, we are here, and we'll see how it goes. Toronto Blue Jays are trying so hard to get into the race in the AL East. And I do think that, Tampa Bay Rays and New York Yankees, partly because of injury to Yankees players, are giving them every opportunity. But, man, they got to fix that bullpen. And we're not that far away from the trade deadline. And I do suspect that the Toronto Blue Jays will be busy.
It doesn't help that the Jays are also incredibly injured.
Sure, but
it also doesn't help that Laddie couldn't hit a home run with a,
and that's what I was going to say.
Paddle.
But here, let's talk about regression.
Sure.
So if I'm the Toronto Blue Jays and I'm sitting down and I've looked at Laddie's numbers and he's not pulling the ball as much and it's not airborne, but it never was. He hits line drives. I'm like, man, I'm betting on that guy to have a great second half.
Oh yeah.
Like the regression is going to hit and he's going to be, he's going to hit the pitcher out of the park.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm like, I think the Jays they're at a tipping point and they just got to stay in it because there isn't like an 8-game winning streak coming down the pipe.
I'm in lockstep with you on that, but also I think we need to also fully admit what we saw last year. Like George Springer was unreal last year. It's like the best season a 35-year-old has basically ever had with a bat. That was never going to get replicated.
Yeah.
Did I think he would fall off this bad to, I think, 7 home runs? His 300th career home run, I think, was his 7th of the year. But no, but it's just a really tough watch at times, especially with the bullpen injuries.
Yeah, it's like you with a Jays game, you've got to, every 3 innings, you got to decide if you want to stay with it. Because if it's 6-4 Toronto after 6, do you want to feel the pain?
You never know. You got to stick. Would you rather see later, if you turn the game off, you're like, the Jays are up, I'm just going to turn it off, win or lose, like I can't see it. And then you open up ESPN or Sportsnet or whatever later in the night, and the Jays lose 8-7. You're like, should have known. Of course they did. I can't use the expletives that I would use if I turned off an Angels game when they were up and I looked and they lost later in the night. Like, of course they lost. This is what they do. And then if they win, you're like, man, wish I left the TV on. It's a lose-lose scenario.
You can always tape it,
You could. I don't have cable, so that I can't do that. So
God, you're a throwback, man.
I'm a
Do you
throwback.
chop your own wood, Jeremiah Johnson?
I do love chopping my own wood with an axe. Great workout. Couldn't do it right now with my rib, but
You're like a little bit banged up. Your car's done. I saw the saddest photo when you took a picture of the car when it was on the back of the truck.
Viking funeral.
Yeah.
Planned for later. Someone said, what, were you going out to the Sutter's farm? I was like, why would I be going out to the... No, Viking funerals, and I'm going to put it on a boat and light it on fire.
Yeah, I think because Viking is in the province of Alberta. You
Correct.
Just, send people in a different direction. Elliot Friedman, I'm reading this quote because I don't really think it's news per se, but it's what we've talked about on this show for some time. He said, read the Oilers, I believe a lot of what has happened in Edmonton since their loss came from the top. I believe that owner Daryl Cates was incredibly upset about the way this season ended, and he was determined to act. And I think that's absolutely it. I do think, they had a plan, whatever it might have looked like, and it may have involved Cassidy, but a lot of what we're seeing, I just think, is Daryl Cates going, enough. And I think he did it before the end of the season. I am convinced, always will be, have no evidence. That's like how I like to fly, is that when Paul Coffey was brought in, I'm absolutely convinced it was Daryl Cates who said, I've had enough of this. I'm tired of watching these stretch passes. And I ordinarily do not encourage Daryl Cates to get involved in hockey ops. But in that particular case, I was just done watching it. So I was glad that he did.
Can I give you another baseball thing just while we sit here?
Sure.
All right. So last night, Shohei Ohtani got a home run off Drew Rasmussen.
Yeah, it was a close game.
Oh, yeah. So Drew Rasmussen has the second lowest ERA since 2021 at 2.76 with a minimum of 500 innings pitched. It is the second lowest in that time frame with that minimum amount of innings. Number one is Shohei Ohtani.
Right.
So he home runned off the guy that is closest to him in ERA.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, Shohei's is 2.62. So a whole
it's not much.
0.14 better.
Yeah.
But that's insane.
It is.
He's struck out 743 batters in his career and has 262 career home runs.
Yeah. He's the best player who ever lived.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. People don't like to say that. They like, oh, well, Babe Ruth. No. Ruth pitched and then he hit. This is impossible what's happening. And I know Shohei, when he's pitching, he doesn't hit often.
Mm-hmm.
But by the same token, he hits all the other days and he's a slam. He's just incredible.
The thing about Shohei is like, he's not a guy with a crazy bat that's got an arm. He's an ace that can absolutely swing the bat.
He also does things that you don't see in other places. Sometimes, every once in a while, Shohei will hit a worm eater through the infield. Just like hit a ball and it's a ground ball and it goes right through the infield. The infielders have no chance at it. And then it gets to the outfield and you're like, well, that ball's not slowing down. It just keeps going because he hit it so damn hard, the grass can't stop. It hits the wall and it's a double. And you're like, that was like a barely more than an infield single, and he turned it into a double because he hit it so hard. He truly is a freak of nature.
Tree trunks.
Man.
On his arms.
Corey says, Jays in 30, a beautiful thing to see, the highs and lows real quick and get it over with. I do admit to watching that every once in a while. Vladdy is 240th regarding home run totals, yet his fifth highest paid. Good on him that he continues to have fun and joke around, but it's too much for fans and management. Rocky and the Donut. Like, you've got to, the baseball is such a long season, and it's like Tatis in San Diego, right? He's got like 1 or 2 or 3 home runs. Well, regression's going to hit. He's going to have, Kurt's hit like, I think it was like 9 home runs in March and April and May. And like in June, he's got 7 already. So that's what's going to happen. It's going to heat up, and Vladdy is going to just pound. He's going to have a 4 home run game, and then everybody's going, well, holy mackerel. It's regression. And I think he is putting too much pressure on himself.
Here's the other thing about Vladdy, too, is he's still getting walks. He's actually walking at a higher rate than he has before in his career. So he's still getting on base. He just doesn't have the power right now.
No, he hits line drives. He doesn't hit under the ball. He scorches the ball. And right now his luck is low, but it'll be fine. Rob says, Tide, if the Oilers decide to hire Mike Babcock, huge mistake. I predict that he will implode like the Titan submersible. Rob in West Edmonton. I think the first year could be really good once they get themselves organized. They don't have a lot of preseason games. It's like, is it 4? And the veterans can only play 2? So that's going to put a lot of pressure on guys like Ike Howard. And the veterans are going to have to come in. They come in shape anyway. But the first 3 regular season games, I think, are going to be a little bit sloppy. The Oilers can survive that. I think oftentimes the first year of a coach, any coach, is really strong. We saw that with Knobloch. He had his best year. Woodcroft's best year was the first full one he was here. Let's not forget he also steals bases. I will not say anything, evil about Vladdy. Like, I love him. I really do.
I think Slurpee Sean's talking about, Vladdy does steal bases, but is it possible he is also talking about Shohei Ohtani?
Oh, yeah. Shohei steals
with a
bases.
50-50 season.
Yeah, just nuts. What can't he do? I guess throw left-handed?
Gamble, possibly.
Well, okay. Yeah. So we have a couple of minutes here. So I wouldn't mind just spending some time on World Cup, what you've liked, what you haven't liked, what you've seen. Most of the games I've watched have been fairly close and a lot of fun. And those that are blowouts have some kind of other storyline around them. There's a gap, obviously, between the really good teams and the not very good teams, but there have also been some surprises as well. So, what's your main takeaway if you had to take one? And you can include the hat trick from yesterday if you want.
No, that Iran New Zealand game was amazing. That was awesome. I loved watching that. That was incredible. I think there was even a goal called off in the first half, but it still ended up being 1-1 going into the half, and I was blown away. Like, I was actually really locked in for that game. It had me sucked in.
No, it's pretty wild stuff. I'll say this, that if this World Cup continues to be as good as it has been so far, that we're going to be talking about one of the all-time best ones. And I never thought that, because honestly, the lead up to the World Cup was like watching a plane that wasn't going to land very well. There were all kinds of controversies going on.
I mean, don't get us wrong. There still are a lot south of the border, but I'm going to throw another honorable mention out there. All the Scots drinking the city of Boston dry. Have you seen that story? Yeah. I think they went to the Sam Adams pub, and the Sam Adams ran out of Sam Adams. The bars have tripled what their St. Patrick's Day weekend sales are, and they all went to Fenway to watch a Sox game, and they ran out of beer.
I love it.
You want to talk about how to drink?
Yeah.
Go to Scotland, see if you can keep up.
Yeah, it's the day drinking followed by the night drinking.
Exactly.
Yeah. EG says, I hope everyone there knows Oilers Twitter is fired up to have Uncle Dennis on the show today. Absolutely know that. Looking forward to talking to Dennis. It's been a long time. I don't know how many years, but we're very proud of him. And obviously, looking forward to talking to him about his job with the Carolina Hurricanes and the Stanley Cup. In fact, we'll do that next. Lowdown with Lowetide, brought to you by Wolf GMC Buick.
Attention Alberta construction pros. For over 50 years, Japa Equipment Rentals has been your go-to for top-notch equipment and stellar service. Whether you need rentals or expert maintenance, we've got you covered. Stop by our Edmonton or Calgary locations today.
Come for Canada's largest trade shows, the biggest names in entertainment, exhilarating sporting events, and more. And stay for the experience at the Edmonton Expo Centre. Looking for the perfect place to host your next big event? From trade shows to galas, meetings, and concerts, the Edmonton Expo Centre has the space, event expertise, and service to make your next event unforgettable. With over 522,000 square feet of flexible event space, in-house catering, and operational expertise, they bring your biggest vision to life. Learn more at EdmontonExpoCenter.com today. Expand your brand with Fusion Promo Marketing. Fusion is your trusted partner for all things branded merch and apparel. Thousands of products perfect for businesses, sports teams, and corporate events. Fusion with a Z. Promomarketing.ca.
You don't just need property services, you need problems handled. HireGood provides cleanup, debris removal, site monitoring, and safety attendance across Edmonton. We reduce issues on your property, keep spaces safe, and take pressure off your team. We resolve real problems for businesses while creating real impact, because our team is built on second chances, and they show up every day ready to prove it. Visit hiregood.ca or call and mention Jason Krueger for a first-time discount. HireGood. Stable jobs create stable lives.
Looking for a truck that can handle anything Alberta throws your way? Wolf GMC Buick has the offers to get you behind the wheel. Get 0% financing for up to 72 months on select new 2026 GMC Sierra 1500 models. Plus, trade in an eligible 2015 or newer pickup and receive a $1,000 truck trade-in bonus on select Sierra models. Ask about bonus offers for heroes, students, recent graduates, and more. Visit wolfgmcbuick.com.
Say hello to your new favorite drinks. Introducing new McCafe Refreshers. Icy cool, undeniably refreshing, and available in 3 flavors. Strawberry watermelon, mango pineapple, and blackberry passion fruit. Only at McDonald's.
At Fountain Tire, success is a team effort. They're committed to their team members and their customers. And that means treating your vehicle like it's their own and finding solutions that suit your needs. Because whatever the road brings ahead, they're on it with you. Visit FountainTire.com today.
I'm Dr. Vance Elliott. The goal of every one of the thousands of hair restoration procedures I've performed is a full, natural-looking head of hair. I work directly with my patients for the consultation, the procedure, and the follow-up, so we can achieve the best results possible. When people see what we accomplish, I don't want them to think,
Wow, great hair transplant.
I want them to think,
Wow, great hair.
go to drvancelliot.com and contact us today.
Get ready, outdoor enthusiasts, for the Kalmar Gun Show. Head to the Kalmar Hockey Arena Friday 3 till 8, Saturday 10 till 6, Sunday 10 till 3 for the premier event to buy, sell, and trade the best in hunting and sporting gear. Visit huntmaniashows.com.
You need the lowdown? It's with Lowetide right now on Sports 1440.
Presented by Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy. WolfGMCBuick.com.
This is the Lowdown on Sports 1440, brought to you by Wolf GMC Buick. Check them out at wolfgmcbuick.com. Our next guest needs no introduction, but I'm going to give him one anyway. He is famous as an outrageous radio guest, a Twitter Hall of Fame must-follow, an opinionated man who backed it up by joining the hockey industry and helping the Carolina Hurricanes win the Stanley Cup. I give you Dennis King. Congratulations on the cup, Dennis.
Oh, man. Thank you. And also thank you for the Eddie Grant callback. Fantastic.
There you go. I knew I'd never hear the end of it if I didn't find that bloody record. So it got to feel really good for you, right? Like, I mean, the process and all of those things. And we know luck is a part of it, but when did you feel like Carolina was going to win that Stanley over Vegas? Was there like a game 2 period, or was it just all kind of, you were on pins and needles the whole time?
Well, as soon as William Karlsson went out,
yeah.
Because I mean, I was following that series and the matchups game by game, and you were kind of seeing, like, where the ground was being gained and where the ground was being lost, and Mariners' production went down once Karlsson went out, and Karlsson was just kind of making a huge difference. And that swung. But I mean, I think when we kind of look back, Vegas like won the battle, but lost the war when they gave up that 4-goal lead, and they still managed to win in overtime. But it was kind of like all of a sudden, Carolina was just like being able to score and finding some holes and breaking down the structure. And and after that, I mean, it was kind of, it was a fait accompli.
After the end of the Stanley Cup, and even before then, people were on Twitter and blogs and various social media really cheering on the Hurricanes, which, as you know, historically would have been impossible after the 2006 final. But are you aware of Oilers fans cheering for you, Dello and the Hurricanes, and the volume of positive tweets about you and the team and the Stanley Cup victory?
Yeah, I am, and I gotta say it's honestly like very humbling because, yes, I mean, I was I was a big part of Oilers Twitter for a long time, and some people kind of didn't like me, I guess, said that I was overly negative, but I was only overly negative because you wanted the Oilers to succeed. And you can't, and so that was your reaction, like, okay, how come you're not doing this and that? And I guess people, like, after a while, I guess they kind of it got on their nerves. But I mean, that's why I was kind of always constantly talking about it, and to see the people that had commented, and some people I'd stayed in touch with after I went dark on Twitter, and my phone just blew up when the last game was over, and just so many people that I'd stayed in touch with from the Edmonton market, and so many people that I'd kind of got to get back to via the people that messaged me after I got hired by Carolina. And unfortunately, I didn't have time to get back to everyone, but that was like, I just had so many messages that day. People were like so genuinely happy for me to have an opportunity with an NHL team. And that was, I mean, it was so humbling. And yeah, I saw people show me screenshots, and I really appreciated it. And I always loved interacting with everybody. And it was a great time. And it kind of reminded me, you know, initially I'm nobody in this regard except for Tim Barnes. You know, Tim Barnes is the start of it. And a long time ago, I mean, there was a hothouse of, minds that talked about hockey and wondered why things weren't being done differently, had ideas about things to try. And one day I was talking to Tim and I said, you know, I wonder if wouldn't it be great if we could have an idea of who was on the ice for scoring chances for and against, instead of just kind of looking at a plus minus and understanding that, okay, there's, you know, that's not pure 5-on-5. So wouldn't it be great if we could do that? And Tim had the idea of being able to scrape data and link me to a site. And I would, you know, watch games with just a notebook and write down the times that I thought that there were scoring chances. You know, just go type in the numbers and that would pull the info. And you had a plus minus but for scoring chances. And in that regard, I learned two things. Number one, Ethan Morrow was having a very lucky year. And number two, Lubomir Vishnowsky was the absolute man. Yeah. And so that was the first time. And so then Eric Tulsky is began blogging about a year later. He actually cited that some of my work and broke it down himself and pulled it apart. And that's how Eric and I became friends.
So obviously, Dennis King, our guest with Carolina Hurricanes scout, different relationship now, and I've been told by guys who've gone, you know, into the hockey industry and come back out and then gone back in again, Rob Vollman, others, that just, you know, anecdotally, they learned a lot from hockey people. So what have you learned from Eric Tulsky in the time that you've been with Carolina?
I mean, you know, I can't even. I'll try to say a couple of things that I've learned. I think the biggest thing is that everything is a culmination of bits. You just have an idea. You have obviously you have a North Star about a vision, about things that you want to value, how you want your team to look, and kind of getting there when you kind of think about it all. And you know, some of us have wondered about this before. I mean, everything is you just kind of make the same bets over and over again, hope enough work out, and don't leave yourself too exposed when something fails, because inevitably every move is not going to work. But if you make a move that doesn't work and your level of exposure is not high, then you can, you know, brush that off and keep going. And he has a different vision for how to evaluate players. And I kind of learned that you kind of stick to that vision. Same thought process.
Do you, I don't know that you get the cup. I don't know that. But if you get a day with the cup, what are you going to do?
Probably sit back and watch my friends all go crazy about it. Because it's, I mean, you know, my friends are, there is a plan for a day with the cup. I don't know when it will be, because obviously, you know, the cup travels a lot of miles all over the world. And I'm like another first time, 1 year, one winner, Scott Gomez, and at far-flung places of the earth. You know, Scott Gomez from Alaska and me from Newfoundland.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I'll just, you know, my friends are just crazy about it all, because, you know, everybody kind of dreams. Like that trophy is the trophy.
Yeah, it is. I had a chance to go to Barnes Stanley Cup party, and I didn't go. I didn't have time to go. So if you give me the day, I'll try to get my points and fly out there. Do you, Dennis King, our guest, Carolina Hurricane scout, do you still keep tabs on the Oilers? Do you track them a little bit, or just pay attention to the box scores?
I mean, I obviously do. You don't, that was a big part of my childhood, just being an Oilers fan and following all the different eras. And yeah, you don't turn that off. You don't turn that off immediately. And it's funny. I mean, the guys in Carolina, the two bosses, my two prime bosses, I will say, that I dealt with on a day-to-day basis, Mark Craig and Chris Abbott. I mean, they had fun with me about it. They would, they'd be like, Dennis, do you know anything about this team in Northern Alberta? Right. So they were cool about it. Right. And so they knew, and so, yes, I did. Obviously, I did. I mean, I believe young people use the term bandwidth.
Yes.
So, yes, I did have the bandwidth to follow two teams closely. And, of course, also Tyler Dello, part of the management group, and he would sometimes Zoom in for meetings, and him and I would have little inside Oilers jokes. Sometimes I would screenshot him something, send it to him with the hashtag letters from home.
Yeah. So Dennis, I've known you a long time, and I know that you were always amazing in being able to evaluate talent. Even back then, I remember when Magnus Pajärvi had his 15-goal rookie season, you were like, man, he doesn't have a great shot, and he doesn't, go to the high traffic areas. I don't think he's going to score. And you were right. I remember when you were like the man about tracking scoring chances. You taught all of us what you should be looking for. Does the goalie move? There's a lot of things that you gathered over the years that were logic and reason. And you mentioned the Barnes and Dello and the blog folks and all of those guys have obviously moved on and into the NHL industry. But in the time that we haven't had you on Twitter and haven't had you on the radio, you talked about it a little bit, but how have your hockey views morphed from where you were maybe, 10 years ago?
Well, one thing is that you can, you should never be too old to learn. And as I went into, all the meetings and tried to get, to get a grasp of how everything worked and what to look for. I mean, this will surprise everybody, but I was just very, very quiet for the first few weeks. Because I hadn't done it before, and you're trying to pick up the lingo, and you're learning systems, and you're trying to figure out, what to note. And also, honestly, Bruce Kurlock was a huge help to me because I became friends with him on Twitter, and he would post clips from mostly Bakersfield games.
Yeah.
And then he would describe what was happening. And that was kind of the infancy of me video scouting besides watching the game and just being able to imprint, okay, this guy does this guy can't do that. And then so I would talk to Bruce and say, okay, what happened on this play? Where is this guy? What's the optimum positioning for him? And just talk to Bruce over and over. And then when I started working for Carolina, I had at least some kind of base, and Bruce was a big help. But I don't know. I think it's going to be strange to say because I was at the right age for embracing analytics as part of a necessary tool to evaluate players. But I think I have kind of more of an affinity for eye test things now. And it's probably because the whole analytics thing was almost fully developed. I mean, there's some things that you can see on the inside in the NHL that you can't see in the public. I'm not going to say that you can't. But I think it was more about, okay, this cake tastes delicious. What are the ingredients? And so now I'm going to get to, so now I'm kind of looking at, okay, does this guy do this? Does he do that? And then you can see, okay, this is how the positive numbers are created. And that's very important because you're kind of wondering, I mean, where someone would fit, and how they would fit. And I mean, that's very, that is very important. You kind of see how Eric has been over and over again, and Brindamore as well, able to, insert players and nearly seamlessly. So, I mean, long before me, those guys had an idea of what to look for. And I just basically sat back, listened, and learned as much as I could before I became confident that I could march as closely to lockstep as possible.
So it sounds like a real education, and you went in with a lot of knowledge. So I know you're a curious fellow. So that's good on you, and good for the Hurricanes. Let me ask you, Dennis King, because you and I have talked a lot over the years about baseball. Are you still a rabid baseball fan, and do you follow the Washington Nationals?
Yes, and it all kind of ties in, honestly, because right now the Nationals have a 38-year-old GM and a 34-year-old manager. And for the longest time, Mike Rizzo was the GM, and he was an old school scout with the Arizona Diamondbacks. So he had one way of looking at things. The Nationals won a World Series in 2019. So, I mean, what happens in all walks of life? If you're successful doing things one way, like you believe that is the way to do it. But, I mean, after a while, they fired him. They brought in like a whole new young brain trust. And now the process is fantastic. The Nationals have, it's crazy to say, they have the best offense in baseball.
Yeah.
And when you dig into their numbers, you can look at the guys in the minors and look at the hitters, for example, how many times they walked and how many times they struck out, and look at the improvement in the ratios from year after year. Like, it's crazy. So, I mean, that is another example of, we'll see, if they buy pitching when they get closer.
Yeah.
But I mean, you can see the plan, and you can see how much it's working. So that is, I mean, baseball was always farther ahead than hockey, obviously, in analytics, and they've gone crested another hill altogether. But still love the Nationals. Watch every game, know their system. I've sent you occasional links to it, like the prospects that are doing well.
Yep.
And I'm still into it, and it's more rewarding now. This is the way I think the game.
Yeah.
And finally, my team, it's kind of like synergistic.
It's been quite a journey. Just thinking about we have a lot in common. We grew up as Expos fans, and obviously as Oilers fan, and it's fascinating to see where you were when you were curious and where you are now, just based on that same curiosity. I'm going to leave you with this. We really appreciate the Hurricanes making you available. I appreciate your time very much. There are a lot of people texting us in and saying, man, it's so great to hear his voice. And we got to hear Electric Avenue. Who knows what life brings us, but I'm just thrilled we had an opportunity to talk to you. And hopefully we will again at some point in time.
Yeah, no, I appreciate the opportunity. It was primarily to hear Eddie Grant.
I know.
I really, it was more about being able to come back here and, to whatever show, whatever platform you had, and say to everybody that I was very appreciative for all the support they showed me when I was originally hired by Carolina. It was overwhelming, and was again when Carolina won. It's kind of like, it's very humbling, and I can't say it any other way. I appreciate it, and it's hard to say. Yeah, it's really emotional in a way, because we all came up at the same time talking about everything, and I was in the right place at the right time.
Yes, you were.
There's a great infrastructure. I did a lot of work this year, maybe next year or a year after some that becomes actionable. But I mean, I came in with an excellent infrastructure, was kind of teached by, mainly Chris Abbott, Mark Craig, big thanks to them. And I'm just very, very lucky to have been there at that time. So, thanks to Eric Tulsky for kind of messaging me years ago and saying, like, if I had a chance to offer you a pro scouting job, would you try it? And, I know I don't want to take too much of your time, but that was a strange feeling last year watching Edmonton in the Stanley Cup final. And at the time, I was going through an interview process with Carolina.
Yeah, that's wild.
That was it was a strange feeling. But, yeah, all thanks to those. And obviously Tyler, too. I can't tell you how surreal it was to be in a meeting with Tyler and him and I are having jabs back and forth about players. Yeah. That was the first kind of pinch me moment. And these are the experiences that I always wanted.
Love it. Be well, Dennis King. Thank you.
Thank you.
That's Dennis King, Carolina Hurricanes pro scout, and we really appreciate his time. And again, thanks to the Hurricanes for making him available. Avro Arrow is going to get the last word this hour. Awesome to hear Dennis's voice on the radio again. I missed his insight so much. Thanks for having him on. Lowetide, Avro Arrow, you're most welcome, and it was a thrill for us too. It's a great look into a successful organization on the top as Stanley Cup winners. On the way, we'll talk to Kevin McCurdy about the Oilers and what their plans are, about Mike Babcock, what happens to Darnell Nurse, and we have declinations talking a little round ball next hour as well. This is the Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440. We're brought to you by Wolf GMC Buick. Time for an update with Declan Krueger.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
Brought to you by Elks Nation. For the best Elks coverage year-round, you got podcasts and articles. Go to elksnation.ca. You got player interviews, game analysis, and more. The best green and gold coverage online, elksnation.ca. A couple of coaching moves in the NHL world as the Vegas Golden Knights have kept Brian Craig as their new head coach, while the Maple Leafs have named ex-LA Kings coach Jim Hiller as their new bench boss. Portugal and Congo just wrapping up here, a 1-1 finish in that one between the two nations. England and Croatia will be up next at 2. Ghana and Panama at 5, and Uzbekistan and Colombia at 8. MLB scores right now. Marlins lead the Phillies 10-4. Tigers, Australia Astros 1-0. Padres lead the Cardinals by the same score. Royals up on the Nats 6-2, and the Mets up 9-1 on the Reds in the top of the ninth. Blue Jays will be in action at 4:45 out in Boston. Max Scherzer on the bump. And at 7:35, we got the Riverhawks in action taking on Wenatchee. I'm Declan Krueger. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440, Stingray Radio Station. CKJR broadcasts from West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin.
Download the free Stingray music app and listen wherever you go.
Whether you're a craft beer connoisseur or more of a wine aficionado, there's always something new to discover at Sherbrooke Liquor, a unique family-owned independent liquor store. The selection, incredible. The non-alcohol section is also very impressive. Sherbrooke Liquor, expert, knowledgeable staff with a passion for unique finds. More than just a liquor store, we're a community. Alberta's best, the one and only Sherbrooke Liquor. Wine, spirits, and oodles of beer. Visit SherbrookeLiquor.com.
Mr. Rooter buries evidence in the desert.
I didn't mean to do it. I was forced into it. Yeah, forced. But now, no one will ever know. You've done well, Mr. Rooter. You did something awful, but you covered your tracks. It's done. The last transcript that shows I did a semester of electrician school.
Uncover evidence of the proudest plumber, Mr. Rooter.
Diamond Rides is one of Alberta's premier specialty charter companies. With our luxury motor coaches, we provide our customers with the safest and most reliable ground transportation services. Our seatbelt equipped, top-of-the-line motor coaches have become the preferred carrier for many local sports teams, tours, corporate outings, and other various travel needs across Western Canada. For more information and to request a quote, contact sales at 877-748-0991 or visit silentrides.ca.
I'm good to go. With Mortgages to Go, you'll be good to go. Mortgagestogo.ca says yes when the banks say no. That's why Alberta has trusted Mortgages to Go for over 23 years. If you need cash and have equity in your home, you're approved instantly, guaranteed. Call 1-888-888-5998. That's 1-888-888-5998. With Mortgages to Go, you'll say, I'm good to go.
Guys, there never seems to be enough time in the day, but you need to make time for this. Ken Franchek here. If you're 40 or over, A quick PSA blood test is crucial for early prostate cancer detection. The Prostate Cancer Center's Man Van is a mobile health clinic driving change for men's health. A few minutes could save your life. To get the Man Van out to your business or event, book today at getcheck.ca.
You've cruised past gas station lineups on epic nonstop weekend getaway. But today, you're switching over to battery power to get back to the daily grind. The Toyota Prius plug-in hybrid, 2 powertrains, 1 efficient drive. It's time to Toyota. Receive a $5,000 lease incentive, plus get up to a $2,500 federal rebate for eligible customers on select 2026 Prius plug-in hybrid models. Visit shoptoyota.ca or your local Prairie Toyota dealer today.
Wendy's 99-cent Frosty is back, and Frosty farmers couldn't be happier. Made with Canadian dairy, they grow up cool, creamy, and mighty thick. It's farm to Frosty. Get a small 99-cent Frosty until August 2nd at participating Wendy's. Taxes extra.
Get ready, outdoor enthusiasts, for the Kalmar Gun Show. Head to the Kalmar Hockey Arena Friday 3 till 8, Saturday 10 till 6, Sunday 10 till 3 for the premier event to buy, sell, and trade the best in hunting and sporting gear. Visit huntmaniashows.com.
The Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440. Can you fit Sports Encyclopedia on a business card?
Presented by Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy. WolfGMCBuick.com.
This is the Lowdown on Sports 1440, brought to you by Wolf GMC Buick. 0% financing for up to 72 months on select new 2026 Sierra 1500 models. Visit wolfgmcbuick.com. Did you know that song is about a dog? Shannon is gone, I heard. Drifted out to sea. It's about a dog. I learned that from Casey Kasem, an American Top 40. We're counting down. That would be if Ronald Reagan was doing AT40. It is time for our headliner of the day, Kevin McCurdy, brought to you by Faber. Debt got you holding you back? Let Faber's licensed insolvency trustees help you tackle your debt. Book your free consultation at faber.ca or call 1-877-944-1177. That's 1-877-944-1177. We are now joined by our friend Kevin McCurdy. How are you?
I'm doing well, Alan. How are you doing this week?
I'm doing very well. Just talked to Dennis King. I know he and you have talked back and forth over the years and that sort of thing. It was great to hear him just talk and share his experience over the last little while.
Yeah, I first want to start our segment by congratulating Dennis on his ascension to the rank of NHL scout and also on his team's win of the Stanley Cup. It's a sensational achievement, and it's really kind of I guess it's just vindication for the Oilers analytics community and some of the brains that it has produced over the past 20 years, especially, guys like you and Wood Guy and obviously Tyler Dello and Dennis King and some of the others that have really emerged from this market as, cutting edge analytics and scouting visionaries.
Well, I will include your dad, Bruce McCurdy, in that. He was certainly helpful to me, and I know a lot of others who were, maybe not blessed as much mathematically, and you certainly have that that in you. So it's the torch is passed to you and your generation, young McCurdy. No pressure.
No pressure. I'll do with it what we can, but still got a little development to do there myself. Yeah, I know Dad would have been ecstatic, both as a fellow Newfoundlander and as one of those first modern analytics generation types to see Dennis win it all and to see Tyler and Eric win it all for their team, using in some ways non-traditional methods, I guess, or not generally people that would be involved in the hockey community because they never played puck in a professional capacity, but they've managed to find a way to bring their own impact into demonstrable result.
Yeah, and it's been an incredible journey of, I'm going to say, I was a moderator at HF Boards, and I had to time out most of these guys because they had great passion and they were impatient for those of us who weren't mathy to catch up. So it was quite the time, but it's been a fascinating ride, and I'm delighted to have been following along all of these many years. So let's turn our attention to the Edmonton Oilers, who are, I think, not far away from hiring Mike Babcock. We're waiting for the NHL to finish their investigation, but most of the insiders, I think pretty much everybody but Frank Sorvalli, is saying that this is pretty much done, fait accompli. Do you agree with that, first of all? Do you think it will be Babcock?
I think there's way too much affirmative sentiment. I won't say complimentary sentiment, but affirmative sentiment that that's what's going to happen here. I don't know. Not everybody's going to like that outcome, and I'm still a little on the fence myself about it. But some decisions are made, and we have to live with them, including Kelly McCrimmon discussing in his media availability that a team was granted permission during the Stanley Cup Finals that didn't go anywhere. It just wasn't the Oilers. So take that for what you will. I don't think that position on Cassidy is going to change. I think that's pretty unsportsmanlike behavior, but that's sort of fitting for the org that it comes from, if I'm being honest.
Well, I think it just adds one more, bullet point to every agreement that an NHL coach will want to sign. And it'll, basically say, even if I am under contract, if I have an opportunity to, after being released from my contract or relieved of my duties, whatever language we want to use, no matter what causes you to have me no longer continue as your head coach, if I have an opportunity or there's interest expressed, that has to be passed along to me immediately. And I think that's the language you'll see in every contract that comes down the pipe now.
Yeah, I think it'll fundamentally change coaching contract, rationale going forward. I don't see that this is, I see this as a thing that's going to work once or work for any coach that has an existing contract. And then after that, I think that the next generation of coaching contracts will front run this kind of nonsense so that it's not even an issue.
Were you surprised at the coach decision in Toronto? Jim Hiller, I look at him as a kind of a button-down defensive coach. I do think that he, has an analytics base, so I'm not being critical there. I thought they would want a little more freewheeling, and in some ways, I feel as though what Toronto did is sort of what Edmonton would like to do, and that's, we've got the offensive fellows. What we want to have is a really good, sound rhythm section that allows us to play really good defense along with what we have. And maybe they're not interested in a high flying coach so much as a guy who can button down the defense.
I think Hillier gets knocked for some of his decision making in this final Oilers series. Obviously he made a game breaking decision with the that challenge that resulted in them losing the hockey game and ultimately the series from there on out. He does pretty clearly use analytics, and overall his analytics are on the offensive side of the puck actually pretty good, depending on the cast that he has to support him. I'm not sure that that's necessarily a cutting edge hire from Toronto's point of view, but they're entitled to make their decisions. I'm not sure if that's who I would have picked, but I never interrupt the enemy when they're making a mistake.
Yeah, that's fair. Are there, assuming that Babcock takes the job here in Edmonton, I really did feel like Jay Woodcroft was mentioned enough in this time through the coaching shuffle of spring. I thought there was enough there for him to grab an NHL job. Didn't happen. Are you surprised by Woodcroft, or is there another name perhaps that you thought would go?
I'm a little surprised that Jay continues to go without a head coaching position at this point, to be honest with you. Analytically, I know he had a tough final season from rush chances against, and there was some real challenges with the defensive systems they were trying to implement. Notably, Dave Manson was going through some pretty grave personal matters at the time, and I don't know if that contributed, but a combination of poor goaltending, poor rush defense, and just honestly terrible luck led to the end of his tenure probably prematurely. I will say the Oilers, with Jay Woodcroft, were the most offensively dominant of any iteration in the past decade. So it's surprising to me that a team hasn't looked at that and gone, maybe we could use a little more of that in our diet.
Got this from old guy from the Kootenays. Please ask Kevin his opinion on Todd Nelson for Oilers coach. Hiring him would not risk team culture. His AHL record proves he can win as a head coach. I know Nelson is wildly popular among Oilers fans, and I'm just flummoxed that he didn't get another opportunity. But what are your thoughts on Nelson as a, not that, I mean, I think it's Babcock, but in the process, maybe he deserved an opportunity.
I think there's a few guys you could say that for. I wouldn't mind seeing Todd Nelson, but you have to wonder with how, few opportunities have presented themselves for Todd Nelson, if there was some other matters there that may have contributed to him not being hired by a team. It's pretty clear that the Oilers want to dip into the old guard here for this next coaching position. They want somebody that is proven, and we're going to apparently go back to the coaching recycle bin rather than try and build off of a new asset. And I can't say that strategy is wrong. I'm not really sure that they went about this the right way, if I'm being honest with you.
Yeah, it's and we have to be fair that the Cassidy disruption probably exacerbated the early portion of the interview process, and the hires that have happened since the end of the season are somewhat predictable. I think that I guess Berube's still out there, and that was a name that had been talked about. Hiller as well,
Dean Avison.
Yeah, but I think that the Oilers early on, and I suspect that it may have been the owner, Mr. Cates, they seemed to settle on Mike Babcock, and I do know that Babcock did talk, was available or was going to be available, and there was an opportunity, but the Oilers were quite down the road with Todd McClellan at the time. That would have been in the spring of 2015. So my suspicion is there's an itch that wanted to be scratched there from an ownership management point of view. And all the things aside from that have been talked to death, and with merit about Babcock's hiring, it's been a long time away. I really suspect he'll have a good year in Edmonton coaching, but the concern I have is how long he's been out of the game. And so my question to you is, how important is it for him to get, a group of assistant coaches who are have recently been in the game as of like last year and will be able to, be there in conversations when maybe there'd be gaps that he was not aware of?
I think it's really important. I am concerned about the gap in time in his coaching tenure from our perspective. The league has changed a lot in the last 5 years. We've seen a real shift from really, I guess, physical grinding, the days of old, I guess we'll call it, to a really fast, really high skill ceiling league. And that transition is continuing. And I hope that Babcock is, assuming he becomes our next coach, is able to harness that and not, necessarily be afraid of it. I also am concerned with Babcock and his history with players that are of, not the star caliber, and how that's necessarily going to drive any sort of division within the locker room, because that's kind of the last thing the team needs at the moment. They've had a frustrating couple of years. I'm sure there's some tensions in specific places in the roster, and I would hate to exacerbate that further. But back to your original point, I think it's really important that he embraces some of the young and new, because that is the direction this league is going.
Yeah, and it's getting faster, and there were times that Babcock had some plow horses on the third and fourth lines, and I just don't think you can get away with that. That's why I think a guy like Colton Dock would be very interesting for this team moving forward. Nurse trade, most people think it's going to happen week of the draft. We've seen a few trades come down. Toronto's been busy, and you know, there's you know, other things that are happening and indications that players are available. What's your thought process about when the Oilers get going here? They're sort of in limbo waiting for the league in terms of Mike Babcock, and maybe that does delay them. But do you think we'll see some action here soon?
I think this is going to be a busy post or summer season for this team. They have some holes to fill. They have some changes they very clearly want to make on defense. They still have to address their goaltending. Rumor has it that Ingram is headed elsewhere. Obviously, that can change, but they have a goaltending spot to fill. Whether they do that from their minor league team or they find somebody else to shore up Jari, I don't know. You know, I think they have to get going sooner than later, but I think not having a head coach and the consideration of who will sign here in free agency and the consideration of the kinds of players that coach would like to see on this team, I think that weighs into it. And I think they're, you know, it concerns me when the word cuts out that there's going to be maybe a 60-day wait for the Babcock investigation to be complete, because the Oilers just don't have that much time.
Owners, do you think he'll check down, or will he get stubborn and wait? Like the theory hit me today. I'm sitting there and mulling. I mull a lot, Kevin, and I thought, you know, if I'm Bettman and I don't want to make a decision, I could just delay. And from an Oilers point of view, at some point you've got to go. And so if I was Gary and I didn't want to make a decision, I just wouldn't make one. I'd just delay.
Yeah. Again, the Oilers don't have the 60 days to wait, so they'll have to pivot somewhere else if the league, you know, I guess sandbags them, for lack of a better word on it. Honestly, the whole situation is pretty disappointing between the lack of action on Cassidy, and I get that there's contract law in place there, and then this subsequent investigation of something that should have been investigated 3 years ago. Like, if there was something that was worthy there of requiring an investigation, regardless of if he was coaching in the league or not, you think you would have completed that investigation at the time rather than just swept it under the rug and hoped it goes away. Like, that's a culture thing with the NHL that needs to change.
Yeah, absolutely. And it will, but it won't be the NHL. It'll just be the contracts written up by the lawyers. Pretty sure. Kevin McCurdy, thank you so much for this. Appreciate your time very much.
No worries. Have a good week, everyone.
There you go. Kevin McCurdy talking to us about the Oilers, about Darnell Nurse, about the coaching situation, and passing along congratulations to Dennis King, which we do again as well. Winning the Stanley Cup is a big deal. It doesn't happen to everybody. What is that, Friends? I can't remember now. All right, it's 20 after 1. We're going to take a break. Don't forget, we've got Declinations talking round ball at 1:40. Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440. We're brought to you by Wolf GMC Buick.
Need a new ride for road trips, errands, or just life on the go? Go Auto offers a massive selection with over 15,000 new and used vehicles to choose from. With over 70 locations across Western Canada, finding your next ride has never been easier. Whether it's a roomy SUV for the family, a sleek car for the open road, or a rugged truck for your weekend adventures, you'll find it here at a price you'll love. Explore thousands of vehicles today at goauto.ca.
With Play Alberta, backing the home team goes beyond the bets. That's because your picks have provincial impact. Play Alberta is the only app in the province that puts all revenue directly back into supporting programs and services that Albertans rely on every day. By investing in the General Revenue Fund, every play, bet, and buy made on Play Alberta helps make a difference across the province. Visit playalberta.ca/Gregor to learn more. That's playalberta.ca/Gregor. Must be 18 plus to play. If you gamble, use your game sense.
The best way to experience Elks football is being there when it happens. From single game to flex packs, group tickets, and family packs, your seats, your way. Ticket packs available now at goelks.com/tickets. Edmonton Elks, our city, our year.
Just in time for the big game. Score big savings at the Brick. Save up to $1,300 off sofas, up to 25% off bedroom and dining packages, plus save up to 40% on select mattresses. And buy more, save more. Up to $1,000 off select major appliances. Watch Team Canada score big on a big screen TV, up to 50% off open box electronics. See in-store for details and exclusions. The Brick, saving you more.
Sleep is for the off-season. What off-season? Sports 1440 is live, loud, and locked 24/7. Oilers, Elks, Riverhawks, Stingers, Oil Kings. We've got your picks. Edmonton's home for sports is Sports 1440.
Do you have neck or back pain? Ever go for treatment hoping for a simple fix only to realize your stubborn spine is basically a science project with attitude? Hey, we get it. And honestly, we're a little sorry because great rehab does take proper experimenting. But at Leading Edge Physiotherapy, we don't just toss exercises into the beaker and hope it doesn't explode. We start with the right diagnosis, then mix hands-on care, precise manual therapy, and evidence-based technology. The formula your body actually needs. Science and skill with gratitude, not attitude. LeadingEdgePhysio.com.
Are new McCafe crafted sodas just drinks or something more? Like Sprite Berry Bliss, Creamy Strawberry Coke, and Orange Dream. All swirled with fizzy flavor and topped with silky cold foam. Only at McDonald's. At participating McDonald's restaurants in Canada.
At Fountain Tire, success is a team effort. They're committed to their team members and their customers. And that means treating your vehicle like it's their own and finding solutions that suit your needs. Because whatever the road brings ahead, they're on it with you. Visit fountaintire.com today.
Missioner Allen Auctioneering's next Calgary, Edmonton, Winnipeg Public Unreserved Heavy Truck Auction is this Thursday at 9 a.m. Featuring tandem, triaxle, and single-axle trucks, including tractors, decks, dumps, man lifts, vacs, pickers, and service trucks. Info at maauctions.com.
Bashaw Concrete Products. From concrete and septic tanks to blocks, precast water pads, Jersey barriers, and aggregates. Farmers, contractors, homeowners. Plan your next project at BashawConcrete.com. Family owned. Over 60 years pouring. Bashaw Concrete Products. Once again, start here. BashawConcrete.com.
Missioner Allen Auctioneering's next Calgary, Edmonton, Winnipeg Public Unreserved Industrial Auction is this Friday at 9 a.m. Featuring a large selection of 2020 to 2014 Caterpillar, John Deere, and Volvo articulated dump trucks. Info at maauctions.com.
Here's the lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440.
Presented by Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy. WolfGMCBuick.com.
This is the lowdown on Sports 1440. Brought to you by Wolf GMC Buick. Get 0% financing for up to 72 months on select 2025 Sierra 1500 models. Visit wolfgmcbuick.com. That's Barry Manilow. Mandy. It was originally called Brandy. It was written by a man named Scott English, but there'd been a hit single 2 years previous called Brandy by Looking Glass. So they changed it to Mandy. Now, I have one more Barry Manilow item I want to talk to you about. The funniest sitcom in the history of the world is an episode of Will and Grace in 2003, and it's about Fanilows, which are Barry Manilow fans. And if you ever get a chance, if it ever comes on TV, Will and Grace, Fanilow, watch it. It is laugh till you lose control of your bodily functions funny. I guarantee it. You'll love it. Are you a big Manilow fan? Either of you? You've never heard of him. Don't know who he is.
I like Barry Manilow.
There you go. Do you like
I know Copacabana.
Oh,
Forget
love
about
that
it.
song. The
Oh,
Copa,
I know that one.
Copacabana.
But I know who Barry Manilow is.
Yes. Okay.
That's it.
That's
I
a
mean, like,
humble brag.
have you ever seen Breakfast Club? Does Barry Manilow know you rate his wardrobe? Come on.
Such all-time. What a movie.
Yeah.
All-timer.
Great movie. The only song of his I don't like is called Looks Like We Made It, because it's very cynical. It looks like we made it, left each other all the way. Why would you write a love song about that? I don't like that. It's not as hopeful as I would think that we would all be about life. Hey, Lowetide, what do you think about John Tortorella? The hard work nature and gritty attitude behind the bench, just what the Oilers need. I think he'd be a guy you'd talk to, but I don't think he'd come here. He when he coached the Vancouver Canucks, he drove home every night. We're a northern Canadian city. We're the most northern. I'll get it. We're the most northern major city in North America, and you can't fly home. I guess you could, but it costs a lot of money every night. So I think Tortorella would be a candidate. I'm not. I think he's what they're looking for. So yeah, giddy up. But I think it's already done. It's Mike Babcock. They already got their hard ass guy, and he's coming. Is it Barry Manilow's birthday today? That's outstanding.
Just one of life's happy accidents.
It totally is. It's a miracle. A true blue spectacle. The miracle is you. Boop.
Huh?
I'm a big Manilow fan. I'm a fan of Low. Turns out Jim Hiller was not talked to by the Oilers. And I'm the one who sent you the screenshot last week saying he had been. Well, and we don't know, right? They might have talked to him and decided not to go with him, decided to go with Babcock. Every piece of evidence we have is that the Oilers have settled on Babcock. And the rights holder media are talking about all of the important players talking to Babcock and them signing off on it. So I don't think they would make that up. So this is fait accompli unless Gary says no, or Gary just, there's a thing you can do. I used to work at a big desk, and I would get in the morning and I would write down everything I had to do. And if there's something I didn't want to do, I'd put it right at the top, swallow the frog. But if there's something that I didn't want to do because I thought it would go away if I ignored it, I would put it right at the bottom of the list and never get to it. I am not saying that Gary Bettman has my work ethic. I think he's probably working harder than I am. That said, I think that it is within the realm of humanity to do that. I don't think that's a crazy thing to say. I really don't. Lowetide, you don't make sense. Boy, I tell you, I've heard that before. If the league takes 6 weeks and then say no, how does that work? Well, Gino, I didn't say they were going to take 6 weeks. That was our guest, Kevin McCurdy, who said that. I do not know what he was referencing. He may have read that somewhere and passed it along. But I'm saying that Gary, there's a thing do you have kids? This works great with kids. Moms are especially good at this, but dads learn, and we pick it up too. So let's say Josh is a younger person. Say he's 15, and I'm in charge of Josh for the day. He's on the baseball team. I'm the coach. And Josh comes to me and says, hey, can we stop for an ice cream cone on the way home? I would say maybe, or something else, and then count on Josh forgetting about it because he's 15. A lot of neurons are firing, and he may forget about the ice cream cone.
You clearly weren't my parent.
But you get my point that I'm making, is that Gary might just be putting this off, hoping the Oilers go away.
Yeah.
Ask Declan why Kellerman, Roy Jones, and Lampley disappeared from boxing commentating after HBO boxing folded. Well, probably because they didn't have a contract to, do it elsewhere. I loved Lampley. I thought he was brilliant.
Yeah, like obviously he mentioned HBO boxing. They stopped covering the sport, went under. And then it was just like the other one, like ESPN, they had their set of commentators with like Joe Tessitore, Timothy Bradley, Showtime. They had a bunch of guys, more Ronaldo, Al Bernstein, Paulie Malignaggi for a while was like their kind of fight analyst. So it was just other, Sky Sports had whoever they had out over in the UK. And it was just these other networks already had their guys. So Max Kellerman, he actually did come back and do the Terrence Crawford Canelo fight. He was the color commentary for that. Did a great job. I thought he's always had a really good boxing mind, but it was really quite as simple as other networks had their guys, and there was just kind of no market for them.
Right. And I love the HBO coverage. I watched it a lot.
They were the best at it.
Yeah, they were because they were more for the boxers. Like the commentators were like, just, this is garbage. Like if something wasn't up to snuff in terms of the treatment of the boxers, they'd get after them, right? I like that about them. They were real, like they were not the guys who were there to be a spectacle or show off rings or whatever. They were, I always felt HBO was interested in the science of boxing. They would tell you why this was a great boxer or why this was a crappy boxer or why the fight really didn't count because the opposition wasn't strong enough for this young up-and-comer. That's what I liked. It was like inside boxing. Chomskers, they won't get free agents according to agents. Okay. Did you see the free agent list? We're not going to get any of that? Damn.
Have you seen their free agent history?
Yeah, right. You're Mangiapane looked good until he got here. So, I mean, maybe players don't want to come here because they don't look very good when they get here. It's great. Hey, I'm going to play with McDavid or Draisaitl, and then you don't. So I also, like, you show me an agent who's not going to sign his guy to a contract that is the one that is the best. If you're getting the most money offered, you go, yeah, you go here, could be great for you. I don't know what to believe is what I'm telling you. Like, sometimes in life, things happen that are not comfortable. And this is one of them. But how we react to them would change. Like, if you have an agent saying, I don't know what this is going to be, keep track of the name, because there's a chance, I'm just saying a chance, that 6 weeks from now or 2 weeks from now, they'll be signing a player in Edmonton and go, yeah, we checked it out. It's all fine. People say things. They do. I've always had a feeling that the Edmonton Oilers are often bidding against themselves for free agents. Jack Campbell is an example. So, I have suggested on this show, this very radio program, that if I'm Daryl Cates, I don't let my general manager buy anything on July 1st. I'm serious. It's like, back in the olden days, new games would come out. And my kids would drive me crazy. Dad, we got to go at midnight and pick this thing. Because back then you couldn't just, download it. You got to go pick it. And I'm like, no, I'm not doing that. I am not doing that. But free agency for the Oilers has been like, I don't know. It's like in the general manager's office, there's a gigantic hole that goes to we don't know where. And then on July 1st, the general manager takes 11 gold bricks, puts them in an attaché case, and then drops it down the hole. And if I'm Daryl Cates, I am filling in that damn hole. And I'm telling the general manager, no. So from that point of view, if you're an Oilers fan and somebody's saying to you, Oilers aren't going to get free agents, good. That's a good thing. I think. I mean, can anybody argue that Vasily Podkolzin was a worse acquisition than any of the free agents they've had since Hyman? Hyman was different. I admit that. I mean, I think I'd prefer Stan Bowman to, I'd say, go find the next Podkolzin as opposed to go find the next Mangiapane or Jeff Skinner. JMO. Paul is sending us some things about Ragging the puck from Google. Are we arguing that at some point in time?
What? From what?
Paul?
That's from Google.
Yeah, he says ragging the puck is an ice hockey tactic. Well, I know that. Bobby Orr was expert at it. That's how he killed penalties. Nobody could catch him. Do we maybe we don't use that word anymore? Is that what they're saying?
Maybe.
Is that one of those cribbage terms that I can't use anymore?
No, you're just not allowed to use pegging anymore. Paul's from the Northwest Territories or Nunavut or Yukon. Shout out. It's got a northern cell phone.
What do they show up as?
What? On here?
Yeah. Like, how did you...
Well, it says, like, in the general area, it takes, like, the area code.
Oh, I see. I got you.
And then,
I got you.
yeah, right there. It says that he's from the north.
Okay, well, Paul from the north.
Sorry to dox you, Paul, a little bit there.
We've got his coordinates. Let's give those out.
Territories.
Yeah, and by the way, Paul, if you're in the Northwest Territories and you see our friend Josh by the side of the road and another car has blown up on him, maybe just pick him up and make sure he's okay, if you could. All right, we have not heard from Declan really all day today. I was a little concerned with him, but he says he's fine. He's been doing good and hard work, and Declanations is straight ahead. So we'll look forward to hearing his dulcet tones just ahead. Lowdown with Lowetide brought to you by Wolf GMC Buick.
Getting your vehicle sparkling clean doesn't have to cost a fortune. Take it into Hughes today and pay just loonies a wash.
Find us at HughesCarWash.com.
The perfect place to host your golf tournament or fundraiser, company event, celebration of life, wedding, birthday party, or private party. Cattail Crossing Golf and Winter Club. More than a golf course, a fun, welcoming place with beautiful views, relaxing patios, and a team that truly appreciates each and every guest. Featuring Out of Bounds, Cattail's 5-star kitchen. Some say it's the best clubhouse dining they've ever had. Cattail Crossing Golf and Winter Club. Book your tourney or event today at cattailcrossing.ca.
Say hello to your new favorite drinks. Introducing new McCafe Refreshers. Icy cool, undeniably refreshing, and available in 3 flavors. Strawberry watermelon, mango pineapple, and blackberry passion fruit. Only at McDonald's.
Missioner Allen Auctioneering's next Calgary, Edmonton, Winnipeg public unreserved heavy truck auction is this Thursday at 9 a.m. Featuring tandem, triaxle, and single-axle trucks, including tractors, decks, dumps, man lifts, vacs, pickers, and service trucks. Info at maauctions.com.
Alberta is growing, but our highways are crumbling. Are you tired of the rough ride? In the last 15 years, our population has grown with hundreds of thousands more cars and trucks on our highways. Today, more than 15% of Alberta's highways are in poor condition. Cutting highway maintenance doesn't save money. It makes repairs more expensive. Don't let the government ignore the problem. Your MLA works for you. Tell them to fix our roads. Visit fixourroads.com for more information.
A message from the Alberta Road Builders and Heavy Construction Association.
Missioner Allen Auctioneering's next Calgary, Edmonton, Winnipeg public unreserved industrial auction is this Friday at 9 a.m. Featuring a large selection of 2020 to 2014 Caterpillar, John Deere, and Volvo articulated dump trucks. Info at maauctions.com.
The heartbeat of sports. The fans. This is Lowetide on Sports 1440.
Driven by Wolf GMC Buick.
Looking for a truck that can handle anything Alberta throws your way? Wolf GMC Buick has the offers to get you behind the wheel. Get 0% financing for up to 72 months on select new 2026 GMC Sierra 1500 models. Plus, trade in an eligible 2015 or newer pickup and receive a $1,000 truck trade-in bonus on select Sierra models. Ask about bonus offers for heroes, students, recent graduates, and more. Visit wolfgmcbuick.com.
The Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440. Can you fit Sports Encyclopedia on a business card?
Presented by Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy. WolfGMCBuick.com.
This is the Lowdown on Sports 1440, brought to you by Wolf GMC Buick. Check them out, wolfgmcbuick.com. There it is. You know, the first time you hear a song like that, it's great. First 200. After a while, you got to wait 10 years. And then you hear it, it's refreshing. Kind of like the show. Declinations is brought to you by the Edmonton Elks. The Edmonton Elks home opener Saturday. It's going to be big. Lock in your tickets at goelks.com/tickets. Now, ladies and gentlemen, the man, the myth, the legend, Declan Krueger.
All right, we got our end of season NBA awards here, made up kind of awards. We have our biggest stock riser, our biggest disappointment, the guy you absolutely hate to play against but would want on your team, the player that stood out to you that could be a number one option on the Sacramento Kings, a player everyone fell in love with this season but you're not sold on, our storyline of the year award, and our Jeremy Lin award for best 2-week run. So, Josh, do you want to start us off with your biggest stock riser?
Yeah, sure. I'd be happy to. My biggest stock riser, Ayo Dosunmu, is on those.
It's a great choice.
He was on those crummy Bulls teams for the last 5 years. Yeah. Gets traded to the Timberwolves. Immediate impact off the bench. And then Anthony Edwards goes down against the Nuggets. And what does he do? He drops 46 points.
Nice.
So Ayo Dosunmu, the eyes are on you now because everyone was watching that series. And I think his stock has risen.
I thought about him. I think that's a really good choice. I went with Jalen Johnson.
Yep.
I think people knew how good he was, but after Trae Young got traded, who was obviously, the franchise player, he was the guy on all the billboards and all the posters. Everyone was like, so what's going to happen now? Like, is this going to become a defensive-oriented team built around Jalen Johnson? He's near a triple-double offensively with some pretty significant defensive upside. Like, he's a tremendous defender. In my mock ballot, I think I had him second or third team All-NBA. I can't remember which one.
Second fastest triple-double in NBA history.
There you go.
Behind Nikola Jokic.
And, like, the other thing for this is I know CJ McCollum had some big games in that Knicks series, but the Knicks lost 3 games all playoffs. 2 of them were to the Atlanta Hawks, and they were actually down 2-1. So shout out Jalen Johnson and that Hawks team. Sneaky second best team in the NBA. Is that what people are starting to say? But I went with Jalen Johnson as my biggest stock riser.
Yeah, that's another name that I thought of. Now we're on to biggest disappointment.
I had an easy one here, so I'm curious to see who you come up with.
Not just one player, whole team. The Houston Rockets. What a disappointment. Second seed last year. Everyone's like, okay, the Rockets, they're on their way. They trade for Kevin Durant. They're like fantastic. They extend Ime Udoka. They make all these good moves in the offseason. You're like, man, feeling good about the Rockets. Obviously, Fred VanVleet goes down, and his impact on the team is immeasurable because they were a lot better with him. They looked a lot different.
Turns out you actually need a point guard.
You need a
just
point
one.
Guard.
You just need one.
Just one. And then like the problems they had with Reed Shepherd all year. Does he come off the bench? Does he start? He should have been starting because again, he was the only other point guard on the roster. Kevin Durant, they're giving the ball to Kevin Durant at the end of the games and going, all right, man, get us out of this situation. They're blowing of constant leads and everything. So to me, biggest disappointment, the Houston Rockets.
I actually would have gone with a different team. I would have gone with the Orlando Magic.
Fair enough.
I went with a player on that team. I went with Paolo Banchero. He just, what have we been waiting for him? We've been waiting for him to ascend 2 years now. He's obviously a very good player. He has some LeBron-esque kind of tendencies and play style. You could make an argument he's the second best player on his team now behind Franz Wagner. And it's just like it gets to a point where it's like, man, we need you to be the guy and we need you to take over. And he hasn't done that yet. So I got Paolo Banchero.
I thought about Paolo. And then
what held you back?
Game 6 and 7 of the Magic.
I know.
Of the Magic series where especially game 7, where he was the only guy that could score on the Orlando Magic. Everyone else was doing diddly on the offensive side of the ball. And he really, really took over.
Who'd you have for next category?
Guy you would absolutely hate to play against, but love to have on your team. I selected the good Canadian boy, Dylan Brooks.
I thought you might. I was going to go with him. I went with someone else, but I thought you might.
Super gritty defensively, dirty player. Great shooter, no. However, he does catch heat every now and then. He made 10 threes this year in a game, I'm pretty sure. I could be misremembering that. But some games he just absolutely pops off offensively while still giving you absolutely insane grit on the defensive side of the ball. You always hate to play Dylan Brooks because you think he might injure your best player. But man, you would take him every day of the week and twice on Sunday.
I went with, that's a great pick. Obviously, like I said, that was my backup choice. I went with Isaiah Stewart, though. Because he's actually kind of a criminal and a bit of a menace. And I cannot think, maybe besides like James Johnson, who's not really seeing court time these days, I couldn't think of a player on the opposing team who I would least like to be mad at me than Isaiah Stewart. And here's the other thing about Isaiah Stewart. He is a very good defender too. Like if he hits that 65 game threshold, he could be second team all defense, or at least in the conversation. So on top of him just being a scary bruiser who actually will take your head off, and he was clearing the bench and throwing legitimate punches in an NBA game this year, not caring at all about fines or suspensions.
He almost killed the Hornets.
And on top of doing that, like he's actually a good defender and tough to play against. So I went with Isaiah Stewart.
Oh, that's a good one. I didn't even think about that. The next award, the player that stood out to you that could be the number one on the Kings. I thought about who's the best player I saw, but like just barely the best player that I'd be like, oh yes, that would be the best player on the Kings.
To me, it almost has to be like a second option on a good team or third or something.
Yeah. So my selection, who was on my most improved player ballot this year? Ryan Rollins of the Milwaukee Bucks.
They were also pretty bad, though.
They were also pretty bad. He was the best player on that team when Giannis was out, except for a couple games where like Kyle Kuzma did Kyle Kuzma things. But I think consistently, if you're just like, here, Ryan Rollins, the reins are yours, you saw a lot of good from him this year. And I think he is a winning player and would be like the second best player on a good team, or in the Sacramento Kings case, Mount Rushmore player.
We have our first repeat player. I didn't go with Ryan Rollins, but I went with Io for this one.
Oh yeah,
I went with Io. I think self-explanatory to anyone who's watched and played the game, especially that 46-point game in the playoffs. I went with Io DeSumo.
Again, great selection. I love me some Io. Okay,
that Kings team's still going 17-65.
Oh yeah, the Kings team is terrible. The Kings are just a cursed franchise. I'm sorry to go and tell everybody the truth. Player everyone fell in love with, but you're not sold on. I actually had a really tough time with this because I did love a lot of players that everyone fell in love with. And so this one just for me is more like what would have been Jalen Brunson probably 2 years ago, his first year with the Knicks. So I selected Denny Avdia.
Interesting. He got him to the playoffs.
I know he got them to the playoffs, but hey, Shaedon Sharp had a great year as well. I think Tiago Splitter is just a better coach than Chauncey Billups was, and is now the head coach of the Chicago Bulls. Shout out. And like Klingon came on, and obviously they're still waiting for Scoot Henderson to literally be anything. Question is the outside shot there, average efficiency, but really good at the rim. So
downhill attacks all the time.
Can he be that guy is really what this comes out to, because when he was on those Wizards teams, he wasn't really doing much. And then he gets given the ball and the reins in Portland, and they make a 7 seed. So is there another upper echelon to his game, or is this it?
I like the pick. It was good for this season because mine isn't really specific to this season. And like, I got to give this guy credit, man. He is a champion and he's a finals MVP. But dude, in 7 of Jaylen Brown's 10 seasons, I think it is, he is like a net negative rating. He has a negative net rating. They're a better team with him off the court. This season,
they had a better offensive rating with him off the court during the playoffs against the Sixers.
Dude, how about this for the season at whole? The net rating with him on the court this year is 6.9. The net rating with him off the court, 16.3. The offensive rating with him on the court, 120.7, a full 2 points better at 122.7 off the court. Defensive rating, and for anyone who doesn't know, lower is a better number here, obviously, because it's defensive rating. Without him on the court, 106.4. With him on the court, 113.8. I know he had some really pretty numbers this year, career highs across the board, but like the team is objectively better with him not on the court. So I didn't love him the way everyone else did. He's a very talented player. I don't know what happens. Like, I mean, I'm sure him and Jason just stick it out for the career duration there, but he was my pick for this one.
If Giannis gets traded to the Celtics, Jaylen Brown will be a part of that package. All right, the next award, the Storyline of the Year award. A lot of great options. But clearly I had to go with the gambling scandal that literally broke like 3 days into the NBA season that got
and ended people.
Yeah, that got Terry Rozier arrested by the FBI. That got Chauncey Billups arrested by the FBI. That had all these other former NBA players' named in the news. Like Kevin Garnett was a part of this, except he was brought under false pretenses by Chauncey Billups. It honestly, like the fact that it's not still going on, like still being talked about, like what is possibly Declan's choice, is insane to me because this is psychotic. Like there was a whole ass gambling ring and point shaving scandal in the NBA. And I think people forgot about it by like November 21st.
Because they don't want to think about it.
Yeah, except you should be thinking about it.
Well,
it is a bad situation.
Will you do me a favor?
Sure.
Will you explain to me how you include gambling in sports and have this not happen?
It doesn't happen. It's like that. You can't.
You can't.
Look at Brendan Sorsby.
Did you read some of the texts between the baseball pitchers on Cleveland and the gamblers? He's like, I'm sorry, it was too close. I apologize. I mean, whatever they have over these guys is a lot.
Yeah, it is.
So
it is bad.
Gambling, sports. It's the White Sox proved it 100 years ago. It doesn't work.
Just rewatch Field of Dreams. It was great.
My storyline of the year, yours was a good choice. Probably the obvious answer. I went with Bam scoring 83. Bit of a personal pick, but he scored 83 points in a basketball game.
Second most in an NBA game.
Yeah,
most free throws in a
Kobe.
game. That's right.
And then your Jeremy Lin Award, our last award to give out this afternoon.
Yeah. So he's not exactly random, but he's definitely in the later part of his career and shouldn't have been able to do this. I took Tobias Harris in round 1 of the Magic Pistons series where he was like Cade was really good, but Tobias Harris was probably their best player. And in game 7 was really showed up in that first half to keep them afloat, especially going against Paolo, who was having an absolutely unreal game. So Tobias Harris.
And for my Jeremy Lin Award for the best 2-week run, I went with a team as a whole. I went with the Charlotte Hornets as they made that late season push. It sucks their season came to an end at the hand of the Orlando Magic, who was the most disappointing team all year, outside of maybe the Houston Rockets per Josh's estimation. But yes, the Jeremy Lin Award for best 2-week run, the Charlotte Hornets.
Okay, that's a wrap. Enjoyed the show very much. Our thanks to Dennis King from the Carolina Hurricanes, also to Kevin McCurdy. Thank you to both of them. We're going to talk a little CFL tomorrow. We're going to have bagged milk from Oilers Nation. Jason Gregor just around the corner. Maybe we'll find out something about the Edmonton Oilers coaching situation or Darnell Nurse. Thanks so much for tuning into the Lowdown. Please enjoy your day.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
Brought to you by Sean Cunningham of Remax Real Estate. Remax move in the Edmonton area. Call or text Sean directly at 780-265-0165. World Cup scores from earlier today. Portugal drawing with the Democratic Republic of Congo 1-1. England and Croatia set to take the pitch in about 5 minutes time here. Ghana and Panama at 5 and Uzbekistan, Colombia at 8. Finals from the MLB. Mets over the Reds 9-1. Marlins over the Phillies 12-4. And Royals over the Nats 6-2. Games right now see the Astros leading the Tigers 4-0. Padres up on the Cardinals 3-1. Rays and Dodgers tied at 0. And the Angels, a close one, but they do lead the Diamondbacks 1-0 in the bottom of the first. Blue Jays will be in action at 4:45 against the Red Sox. Max Scherzer on the bump. News from the NHL coaching world. The Golden Knights have hired Ryan Craig as the new head coach, and the Toronto Maple Leafs have named Jim Hiller the new bench boss. I'm Declan Krueger. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440.